Odysseus killed 100 men to reclaim his throne. We often view the Odyssey as a grand, mythological adventure filled with sirens and cyclopes, yet this ancient epic hides a far darker psychological reality about the true cost of homecoming. Behind the fantastical beasts lies a harrowing case study of a broken soldier, trying to bridge the gap between the atrocities of war and the quiet domesticity of peace. To understand why Odysseus spent 10 years wandering the sea, we must look past the wrath of Poseidon and uncover the terrifying truth of what he was actually running from, a truth that still haunts every soldier who returns from the edge of the world today. Standard mythologies blame his decade of wandering on the blinding of the Cyclops Polyphemus. But the true catalyst of Odysseus's endless voyage was the profound, agonizing moral injury he suffered during the final, catastrophic night of the Trojan War, when his own brilliant mind devised the very engine of Troy's absolute destruction. For 10 brutal years on the blood-soaked sands of Ilium, Odysseus had acted as the cold-blooded, calculating strategist of the Greek coalition, orchestrating the infamous Trojan horse, and witnessing the horrific slaughter of innocent Trojan children to secure a victory that left his hands permanently stained with the blood of the defenseless. The Olympian gods did not simply blow his 12 ships off course with random, petulant storms. Rather, the cosmos itself seemed to reject a man who had desecrated sacred temples, broken the ancient laws of hospitality, and shattered every ethical boundary of ancient warfare in his desperate quest for victory. This spiritual exile and psychological torment reached its absolute breaking point on the isolated island of Ogygia, where the beautiful, immortal nymph Calypso offered him a divine escape that no hero in the history of the mortal world had ever dared to refuse. Calypso promised him complete, unchanging immortality and eternal youth, a life entirely free from the agonizing decay of physical age and the painful, haunting memories of the Trojan battlefield, on the single condition that he abandon his mortal wife, Penelope, and forget his rocky, impoverished kingdom of Ithaca forever. Yet for 7 agonizing years, the celebrated hero of Troy did not rejoice in this lush, perfect paradise. Instead, he sat daily on the jagged, wave-beaten shoreline, weeping bitterly as he stared out across the barren gray horizon, toward a home he feared he would never see again. He rejected the ultimate divine gift of godhood, because his scarred soul realized that to escape death, grief and aging was to escape his own humanity, choosing instead the painful, finite existence of a mortal man, who would rather die at home than live forever in a gilded cage. But as he finally built a fragile wooden raft to escape her island, Poseidon, the vengeful god of the oceans, watched from the heavens, and prepared a catastrophic storm that would strip Odysseus of his last possessions, and force him to make a choice that defied all human logic, plunging him back into the abyss. When the colossal, mountain-like waves of Poseidon shattered his fragile raft and dragged him down into the freezing depths of the ocean floor, Odysseus did not pray to the gods for a miraculous rescue. Instead, he deliberately stripped off his heavy, waterlogged royal garments, and swam naked toward the unknown rocky shores of Phaeacia. The Phaeacians, a peaceful, utopian seafaring people, who had never known the horrors of war, or the bitter taste of betrayal, took in this battered, nameless stranger, and treated him with the sacred, unquestioning law of hospitality, completely unaware of the violent history he carried within his deeply scarred chest. A grand royal banquet held in his honor, as a blind bard named Demodocus began to sing of the fall of Troy, and the clever trick of the wooden horse, that the disguised hero finally cracked under the immense weight of his own hidden identity. Odysseus did not stand to claim his glory or boast of his brilliant triumphs before the court. Instead, he hid his face in his heavy purple cloak, and wept with a sound so guttural and raw, that the king of Phaeacia stopped the music in sheer horror. Homer describes this weeping not as the grief of a proud conquering king, but compares it to the agonizing screams of a woman clinging to the dying body of her husband on a conquered battlefield. A shocking, inverted image of the very victims Odysseus himself had made at Troy. By weeping for his own victims through the lens of a conquered widow, Odysseus underwent a profound psychological death and rebirth, finally confronting the immense, suffocating guilt of his past actions, and shedding the ruthless persona that had won the war. Deeply moved by this raw, unshielded display of human suffering, the Phaeacian king loaded Odysseus onto a magical silent ship that could navigate the treacherous seas without oars or rudders, finally delivering him to the shores of Ithaca, while he lay in a deep, death-like sleep. Yet, as his feet finally touched the soil of his homeland after 20 long years of war and wandering, why did the goddess Athena immediately shroud the island in a thick, deceptive mist, so that he could not recognize the very home he had spent 2 decades dying to reach, forcing him to view his own kingdom as an enemy territory? The true obstacle to Odysseus's homecoming was never the physical distance of the Mediterranean or the mythical monsters of the deep, but the terrifying reality that the home he left behind had evolved into a hostile, unrecognizable battleground that demanded a different, far more intimate kind of violence to conquer. While he was lost at sea, over 100 young, predatory suitors had occupied his palace, consuming his wealth, plotting the cold-blooded murder of his son Telemachus, and relentlessly pressuring his wife Penelope to declare him dead so they could seize his crown and his land. To survive his return, the legendary king of Ithaca could not march in with banners flying or command his subjects. He had to disguise himself as a filthy, despised beggar, enduring the cruel insults and physical blows of the very servants and nobles he had once ruled with absolute authority. The ultimate twist of the epic is that Penelope, despite her 20 years of faithful waiting, did not immediately embrace her husband even after he slaughtered the suitors. Instead, she tested him with a secret trick about their marriage bed, a bed carved directly into the living roots of an olive tree, proving that she was just as cunning, cautious and battle-hardened as he was. This leaves us with a haunting, unresolved question. When the blood was finally washed from the palace floors, did Odysseus truly find the peace he had sailed across the world for, or was he forever condemned to be a stranger in his own bed, haunted by the ghosts of Troy? If Odysseus's true battle was not against monsters, but against his own past, did he ever truly make it home, or did the king who left for Troy die on that blood-soaked battlefield, long before he ever returned to Ithaca?